Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Not a single penny. He's like, I've got a couple accounts for my kids, universal accounts for
About 29,
yeah, well, I've got my college, or the college funds, but he said, I don't even know if he does. I think he said he has some universal, like insurance policies, he said, but no, not a single dollar invested. He goes, because I can make the amount of returns that I make in real estate don't even compare to the 8% return that you can get in the stock market. Like, not even comparable. Like, it's significant. It doesn't even it's not even close.
Not close.
Like 50, 60 plus percent returns, even like 100 plus percent returns. Like, he's like, there's just not a single reason to have a dollar invested. And it made me go, huh. So what you're saying is totally true about like the tax code and the way that they have it set up. And this is why we're on a mission. I want to buy another house. Just, I'm telling everybody.
Right.
I want one more house in San Diego for sure. I would love that in the next like 6 months to a year. We're walking into a weird market again in 2024. And so I know that when the going gets kind of tough too, for people, there's still going to be a lot of opportunities. So like when people are going to be, some people are going to be losing their ass, losing their jobs, and it's going to shift and it's going to be really, and in that same breath, it's going to be really great. And it's a catch-22, man, right?
It is.
And it depends on what side of the bucket you're on for that, for the side of the street you're on for that. Right now, me and my husband are loading our guns, so to speak, financially, and I'm ready to pull the trigger. And I'd like one more house in San Diego, and then I'd like to start looking outside of San Diego for funsies too, because I can take that dollar and make it go much, much further in a different place. Plus, I want an opportunity to have a lake house. And like an opportunity to have a summer desert house or a whatever that we rent at. So I'm thinking big picture, but the idea would be, we don't intend to live or move out of San Diego anytime soon. So like, I'd love another San Diego house. That's the question. Is that, again, I personally think prices are too high, but the saddest part about it is that they're only going to go higher. So I'm like, damn, like,
Yeah, they're not going down.
They're not going down, no.
So there are people that are smarter than me that believe that we're 300,000 units upside down. That we're literally, we're short 300,000 housing units in San Diego County.
300,000, wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So Alan Nevin, Alan?
Yep.
So Alan's been on twice. Shout out to Alan. Alan has been on a radio show since 2011.
Yes.
He and I have become good friends. And he told us on the radio in 2019, he said, listen, he said,
no, wait, what'd you say?
If we don't,
What'd you say, 300,000 or 30,000?
300,000.
300,000 homes short.
Yeah, so listen to this. So he's on in 2019 and he said, listen, he goes, if we don't import another person into San Diego County, then we export. So if that just stays constant, we need 12,500 new homes built and sold every single year in San Diego County just to keep up with organic demand.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting about that is we haven't done that.
Right. No, they're not building.
In over a decade.
Right.
We've been way short of that 12.5.
Right.
So you go back and start adding all that up, and it's a significant portion of that 300,000 number. So I don't think they're that far off. I think they're more on than we realize. So
what does that
millennials.
mean? What does that mean?
So in San Diego County in 2019, he was on our radio show and he said that in San Diego County, 40% of millennials were still living with their parents. The youngest millennial is 25 now, and the oldest is 41 this year. Okay, there's 40% are still living with their parents. The nationwide average is 20%. Okay, but in San Diego it's 40.
Wow.
And so one of the things that we talked about was we are literally in the middle, and he called it in 2019, we're literally in the middle of a tsunami of millennial purchases. Millennials buying real estate.
And it's probably because they're saving by not spending. If
Well,
they're smart,
saving.
If they're smart.
They're saving, but they're also doing things that we call household formation activities. They're getting married, they're having babies, they're, all this stuff is happening. And
But
so,
how does that, but that still butts heads. If there's not enough houses, they're still maybe going to live with their mom and dad and still have babies, but be like, shit, we have no place to live.
well, there are grandparents right now, that are buying houses for their grandkids.
Right.
And the grandkids aren't born yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in a...
And that's a play only for the grandkids, so that when the grandkids are ready to move out, they have a place that they can transfer to.
Right.
So they can afford to stay here.
Right.
Because otherwise, these grandparents know that the kids are leaving, right? Like the mass exodus to Texas and Florida and all that kind of stuff. The kids are leaving. If they want their grandchildren to be able to afford to live here, they're going out and buying
Well,
houses
if they want to
now.
see that, yeah, if
be ready.
they want to see their grandkids, they got to keep them close.
Yeah.
It's pretty smart, actually.
So that's literally a phenomenon. That's literally happening right now. So, So what Daniel's coaching you on is smart, and Daniel's a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. He used to buy fixers for a hedge fund and fix them up and flip them.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, his
interesting
blueprint.
background.
Yeah, I'm paying attention. I'm paying close attention.
Yeah, he knows his
And
stuff.
in this market that we're walking into too, I think that again, investors, there's again, not everyone's going to be able to do it, but like the smart investors, the ones who've been smart and do it right and follow their blueprint, they're going to be sitting pretty in this downturn that we're walking through. They're, for sure.
Yeah,
Because
and
like,
the right investors are going to do well.
oh yeah.
Okay, so we got off track again, which I knew we would do.
Sorry.
This is like that tributary thing, right?
Well,
This is the way this thing's going, but it's okay. It's not your fault. So it's the energy that you bring. I spend 3 minutes with you, and I could run through a wall. Anyway, so let's go back for just a second. So,
okay.
Growing up in West Virginia, what was your favorite thing about growing up in West Virginia?
Oh, let's see. Favorite thing about growing up in West Virginia. I always joke around about West Virginia.
Do you?
Yeah, because I always say, people will be like, oh, tell me about West Virginia. I'm like, what do you want to talk about West Virginia for? Like,
Right.
All the places and things to talk about West Virginia. And I joke because my best friends still live there and I really like it. And I went home this last time to visit, and it was funny because my friend Jan, she was like, I go, man, there's something different about West Virginia this time around. And again, I have my kids with me. And I was like having a blast hanging out with my friends and like watching my kids play with their cousins and stuff, and watching my dad get to like hang out with them and stuff. And so she was like, oh, it might be that like the crisp air and the nice rolling mountain, it might be that this is actually where you should move back to, right? She joked around like that, said something funny, and I'm like, nah, I ain't go back. But my favorite my favorite thing about growing up was probably that I got to see, like, it was one of those places in families where I had like all my cousins, my cousins were my best friends, and we grew up with them. So, my family. So that was my favorite thing. And like, just, there was lots of like, even when I think about like what we did for fun, it's what every small town like people do for fun. Like, we just drank and smoked. Like, I honestly got all my partying out in high school. By the time I got to college and actually saw like real drugs, I was like, don't care. Like, do it if you want to do it. I'm not interested in that. Like, I just already had seen and heard so much about like what the nastiness of what it could do. But I also did them. Like, I did them in high school. So by the time I got to college, I was like, whatever. It's just like y'all have your fun. But it was the first time these kids were exposed to that, right? So it was a very interesting dynamic. My parents were very like, my mom was a hippie and my dad was married to a hippie. So it's like, like my dad was like, whatever, like they just knew that we were gonna do it. Kids are good. Like, not the whole idea like kids are gonna be kids, because there's some times that we shouldn't always say that, but like, kids are gonna be kids, so help guide them through that, and don't like be up their ass. Instead, don't be their friend, but be there in a way that can support them through it, depending, because yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
so
it's all
so
depending.
I told my kids growing up, I said, listen, I'm not here to be your best friend.
Yeah,
Okay? I am here to prepare you to go into that big, beautiful world. You're not going to like everything every decision I make. It's not up for debate.
right.
It's not going to be, we're not going to have a conversation here. It's my way, period. And I'm going to be that giant immovable object that's just right there in the middle of your world that you're going to bump into.
Yep.
Every time you want to do something negative, every time you want to do something you're not supposed to do, you're going to be bumping into me because I'm going to be standing right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just told him, I said, I'm here to prepare you to go.
Yep.
And I will absolutely not accept that you're going to go out into society and then you're going to be a burden on society.
Totally.
You're going to be just the opposite. Okay? You're going to leave this world better than the way you found it.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And that was literally the conversation we had. And we didn't have to have it very often.
Yeah.
We got to a point to where they wanted to do something and I would say no. And the whole idea of, well, so-and-so's mom's letting them do it, like they're not my kid.
Yeah.
I'm not raising so-and-so, right? So-and-so's mom is raising them. So-and-so's mom is going to be the one that's on the hook one of these days when that kid doesn't leave the house.
Right.
And, doesn't move on with their lives and doesn't
Right.
become a responsible citizen.
Right.
So, it's not going to do you any good to come to me and say, well, so-and-so, right?
Yep.
This is not a popularity contest.
Yep.
And
Don't
I'm not
care.
looking for Father of the Year.
I'm gonna steal all of that.
Seriously, I'm not. I'm looking to get you prepared.
Totally.
Okay? And if I'm saying no to this, there's a reason I'm saying no.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Done.
End of the discussion.
Yeah.
And it got to a point to where they just didn't
They
challenge
didn't
as
push
much.
it anymore.
So okay, so I'm getting us off track again. So favorite thing in West Virginia was family. By the way, it's my favorite thing about Oklahoma too. But because my cousins were everywhere, So you end up in Boston. You end up leaving Boston and coming to San Diego. What makes you come to San Diego? I mean, I know it's a guy, but
Right.
but what is it about?
Well, to start Real Producers, actually. So I was selling Cutco in Boston, and,
Right.
and again, this is my 10th or 11th year. I'm bored because it's your 10th or 11th year, and I'm just don't feel challenged anymore. And I was just bored with what I was doing, but also, I was easy money and all the things, but I was like, all right, well, it's time to grow the next level of wings
Mm-hmm.
and see what else you're made of. So my friend, shout out to Remington Ramsey, he started Real Producers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a part of N2 Companies, our parent company, and they've been around for almost 20 years, actually 20 years next year. And then what year? 16 or 17. Remington's introduced to N2 Company. He thinks he can do it and create something specific, a trade publication specific to real estate
Mm-hmm.
in each city. Here's the concept. They were like, prove that you can do it, and we'll see what this could do. He proves that he can do it in Indianapolis. Does it really well. They open up like an actual concept and create like a business,
Mm-hmm.
and then they start to go, okay, you've proved it, and they proved it in 3 or 4 other markets too.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, okay, you can go recruit. We'll pay you.
Mm-hmm.
So they pay him to go start recruiting. So he immediately goes to Cutco, top producing Cutco people.
Mm-hmm.
We're his first little
Proving ground. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
Right.
they're like, I know you, you know me. You can sell. Here's this concept. Go do it. So
Did he work for Cutco?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all Cutco people.
There we go.
Okay. All
So-
high level Cutco people.
So speaking of Cutco, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. But the guy that wrote Giftology,
Yes, John Rulin.
John Rulin, came to Pathfinders the other day, my daughter's church, and spoke.
Wait,
and
where
literally
at?
In San Marcos, Awakened
Why
Church.
does he get? Oh.
Awakened Church in San Marcos.
Yeah.
So he comes to speak, and I'm literally sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, oh, this guy is onto something, right?
Yeah.
And so I literally bought his book,
Yeah.
Giftology, before he finished talking.
Yeah, for sure.
And like as soon as I walked out the door, I had it on tape. And I was my daughter's ride back to the house, and she comes out and gets in the car, and she goes, "What's that?" And I said, "That's our guy. Don't you recognize his name, his
Yeah,
voice?
his voice.
That's our guy."
So
right?
how'd they fly it? They flew him out?
I don't
So
know.
Pathfinders just has, because I know about Pathfinders, but I see they have high level speakers come in.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. He was one of the best of all of them, and he just I'd never heard him speak before. I
He has
didn't
a-
know.
he has a cool story.
I didn't know anything about him, and I was like, oh, I like this guy.
Dude, he's made Cutco a shitload of money. In fact, want me to tell you another web of funness with John Rulin?
Okay, well, do me a favor. I want him on the podcast.
You want him on the podcast?
So will you connect me?
Yeah, I do know who I can. Okay, can you remind me?
Yeah.
Okay, remind me.
Okay.
But because I have a few people that know him, of course, and like if I knew, like, here's the thing, I do know him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him well enough to probably like have a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have a cell phone. For funsies, let's I don't think I have his cell phone, but like I'm like, do I have his fucking he's a really nice guy.
He really is.
No, I don't have a cell phone. But or maybe he spells it John.
RUHLA.
No, I don't have it. But I do know a few people who would. So again, I don't have him on speed dial, but the funny thing is when I've seen him at events, like even the last couple of years, he's like, oh, hi Jessie, oh, hi John, like he knows me by my first name, which is kind of cool.
That's very cool.
So fun fact, it's the web. So N2 Company was started by ex-Cutco people.
Okay.
Then Remington gets in and starts the Real Producer product, starts to take off with it. They again keep attracting more Real Producer people. More Cutco people to the organization.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the craziest fact of all. So his name's Mike Litton. He was my hiring manager for Cutco. I've known him since 2005.
Mm-hmm.
He was the hiring manager for John Rulin.
Oh wow.
3 years prior to that.
Wow.
So John Rulin's been again working for Cutco since like 2002 or something.
Yeah.
But like Mike Litton is still even moved back to his home in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's probably right near John's original town. I think
Yeah.
John lives in Missouri now. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know where he lives actually. But he's got a beautiful family and a beautiful wife. And long story short, yeah. So it's the web because Mike Litton now works for Real Producers.
Wow.
And he started and even approached me early on, and I was like, go kick rocks, I'm happy selling Cutco, because I knew he went off and did something else, but I didn't understand the concept.
Yeah.
But that's what really brought me to San Diego too. Yes, here's what happened. So I was dating a guy long distance.
I knew we'd get to this.
Yes, so I live in Boston, he lives in San Diego, he's half black, half Mexican. He's not moving to Boston because his family's from here, born here.
Mm-hmm.
I have fun in Boston, but I don't have family there. No
Right.
real anchor.
Nothing's keeping you there. Right?
Nothing. And I'm also like a gypsy. Like you put me anywhere, I'll figure it out and have a good time and like make it happen.
I love that about you.
Yeah, like put me anywhere, I'll make it happen, right? Actually, I'm gonna get this thing for our home. Like my husband's last name is Fong, so my last name's Wright Fong. I kept my last name and still go by it because I like already built it, so I'm not gonna change it, right? But I want to write I want to get like a thing made on like a picture made, not a picture, but a nice thing that says Family Fong Values, and I want all of our values on it. But
cool.
I always like my kid will say like, Mommy, Mommy, can you do this? Can you do this? And sometimes I'll say yes. How do we ask nicely? I'm trying to get him to say please and thank you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll do it anyway. My son, sometimes I'll end up saying in the back of my head like, Mommy gets things done, because I want him to know that Mommy and Daddy get things done.
Mm-hmm.
We get done.
Mm-hmm.
Like you ask me to do something, I'll get it done, or I'll let you know I can't get it done, but we get things done. I acknowledge you when you ask for something, and we get things done. So anyway, I digress. So I'm in Boston.
I think that's a great idea, by the way.
What? Yeah. Write down the values.
I love
we have
it.
to, and then I want to go through them. We're already saying affirmations on our way to
what's
school.
What's value number 6?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
What's value number? Because they'll ask you, because here's what's going to happen. And I told my kids this. When they become teenagers, they are going to come at you to challenge your value.
Yeah.
And I told my kids, I said, you better bring it. If you're going to come at me to challenge my values, you better bring it.
Yeah.
Because so far you've already lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And they never did. They never once came at me to challenge my values because I prepared them ahead of time.
Yep.
I said, listen, I'm formidable.
Yep.
You've met me, right?
Yeah. These are it. No, totally. We're already saying affirmations on our way to school too. So it's like,
that's perfect.
I'm just really working hard to like, I want to raise a stand-up little dude.
Yeah.
I want to raise a man, you know, so I'm being very intentional. I'm being very intentional.
That's cool.
So I moved to Boston, but I'm in Boston, but I'm bored.
Okay, so you're in Boston.
I'm in Boston. I'm bored. I'm dating a guy.
Okay, hold on. Just so we're clear, you're in Boston because you followed a guy to Boston.
Yeah, and
then you kicked him.
Yep.
Right. He's kicked to the curb, And then you meet this guy.
No. I kick him to the curb. I live and stay in Boston for like another 4 years.
I got it.
Time.
But
yeah.
you kicked him to the curb.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay. So you're kind of a heartbreaker, aren't you?
Yes.
So then you meet this guy from San Diego.
I meet this guy from Cutco. I knew him already.
Oh, so he's with Cutco.
He's with Cutco. I know him because I see him on company trips because there's payoff trips for
Oh,
top
yeah.
performers.
So you guys get together
So-
and they reward you and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
so every year you have a few payoff trips, there's a few
So the top
conferences. So I always
producers-
see him. All the top
Okay.
producers know each other, so I
Okay.
see him and wave to him and hug him, and I just realized these guys really cute, and we start to
Okay.
flirt, and I'm like, So then we go on a company trip, and yeah, sparks fly, and I'm like, all right. So we start dating long distance because I'm like, well, I liked you, you like me, and so we date long distance. So in the interim, I'm bored with Cutco. Remington's hitting me up. Yo, you gotta check out this opportunity, this real producer opportunity. You gotta check it out. It's a national franchise, but it's pretty cool. There's no franchise fee to get on. They'll probably start making a franchise fee, but right now it's still free. You should really get in.
Ground
It
floor.
just takes ramp up. It takes time, but you can do it. You're the perfect fit for San Diego. The market's wide open. Because I'm like, dude, man, type of guy, or type of girl. Like, he's like, you're a perfect fit of where like hard work, Boston, East Coast meets cool surfer, San Diego vibe. Like you should really take this market. And I was like, you know what? I'm not getting any younger. I'm dating this guy who lives there.
Who's not leaving.
Yeah, he ain't leaving. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I don't know a single person, but you know what? I'll figure this out. So I knew him. I knew Eric Gilman, who sells Cutco too, and I knew Adam Sobieski, who still sells Cutco. I'm not sure he invests in San Diego. I don't know what the hell that guy does. Anyway, I knew those three people. And I asked them all for help. TC the guy I moved here for, doesn't really know real estate. I asked Eric Gilman for help and I asked Adam Sobieski, and they tell me to kick rocks.
Really?
They blew me off.
Really?
Eric blew me off for...
Eric's in the doghouse now.
He is. But you can bring him in and then bring him right out and bring him up to him the next time you talk to him, because here's what happened. He doesn't understand the concept, and I also wasn't good at explaining it. It was brand new concept to me. I was selling ads. I've never sold ads before. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
So like I tried to pitch Eric on why, and by the way, I didn't pitch him on money. I needed him to connect me to 5 of his top performing realtors and 5 of his favorite affiliates. That's all I wanted. Let me do the rest. And he wouldn't make those introductions. So several months went by and he'd see me taking selfies with top performing realtors. And he finally was like, oh.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out Calendly.com/Rio760.